Hey everybody, welcome back. Try to do a video today. It's extremely hot. We're here in Upper Michigan putting in a kill plot, small food plot. It's about 15th to 20th of an acre. We're up on as obviously you can see behind me, a sand ridge. We have a sand vein that runs on this particular property, north and south. So there's off to the east is a big destination feed field, and off to the west there's about 20 acres of really impenetrable swamp. That's where we like to see a lot of the buck bedding in there. We've got a lot of hinge cutting this way, a lot of doe bedding area over where the food is. What we do is try to catch the bucks coming out of the swamp. We have, and I'll show you when we're done here. This is kind of a two strategy video, but off to the south we have a travel corridor right along the top of the ridge that's going to be in cereal rye. And then here on the little kill plot, we're going to do heavy oats and cereal rye, heavy oats for archery season. There's a stand to the north that's got great access. But what we want to talk about today is a couple of things. You can see it's been worked up. I came in here with a tractor before we got the camera and equipment in here and lightly disked this. It looks like it's been heavy disked, but it's just been about an inch deep. And what we did is there was a lot of cereal rye that came back, but the population wasn't enough to where I felt we could just roll it down or seed and then roll it down. Plus we're on sand and it just dries out so quickly. We're gonna do a no-till video probably within the next 5 to 7 days. And I've actually shot some footage already of seed lying on top of the ground, even though we've been getting plenty of rain here in Upper Michigan. But looking at the 10-day forecast, we have maybe 2 chances of rain. So what I'm going to do here is spread the rye, spread the oats, lightly disc them in with that same four-wheeler. You saw us putting in the 3-strip behind the house, and we're using the same little 3-foot disc, dual gain disc, and then there's a lawn roller behind it. I really like a lawn roller, folks. It's so consistent. I'm looking at everything we've done with this lawn roller, and there's really good germination, but it's consistent germination. It doesn't look like I put the seeds in with a drill, you know, because the cultipacker setting stuff too deep or not deep enough. I really like the consistency of the lawn roller. I've got a lawn roller from Tractor Supply sitting right over here off the camera. Probably cost me 125 bucks maybe 15 years ago, and I've been using it ever since, and it's worked great for us. But anyway, we're using a small ATV disc, and we're using a lawn roller. I think there's maybe 30 gallons of water in it. But I did come in and knock this down with a disc on the back of a tractor, but if I had to, I could probably have done just fine using the ATV disc. But our strategy here is we're going to, on the long travel corridor that's probably about 80 yards long, and I'll show you this when the videos, we get to the end of the video, it's going to be just rye because that's our rifle shot. And then here on the little food plot, we've got a licking branch. You can see, I'm going to try to point to it right over here. You can see that there's a licking branch right before they head into the swamp. They come out of the swamp, hit this ridge, and then head to the swamp. There's a licking branch right there. I'd love to get a water hole up here, but quite honestly, I don't like coming in here during the season and filling them. So we've got a couple of water holes we've dug with a mini excavator in other areas. But we're going to have a lot of the oats up close to the blind for archery. There will be some rye, but the heavy rye is going to be where the rifle shots are going to be. So that's our strategy here. We spilled a bag of, I think, red clover in the shop, so I swept that up, and we're going to overseed everything with the red clover. We're going to hit it with Plot Doctor in a couple of days, but we're hoping for rain tomorrow. Today is Sunday. We're hoping for rain possibly Tuesday, possibly Friday. But the thing is, another reason why we're doing the disking is because this is sand, and I don't want the seeds sitting on top of the ground just baking. The sand is going to get warm. We've got a little bit of thatch layer with the rye left over that's going to protect them, but we want those seeds sitting about an inch deep. And if I can see some resemblance of soil moisture in here yet. We'll get germination even if it doesn't rain. But the fact that we've got a warm week coming up, not a good chance of rain, I'm more comfortable with those seeds sitting in the ground rather than on top of the ground. So we'll show you what we're going to do here today. We're going to get this nice little kill plot put in and show you how we do it, why we do it, and hopefully you'll learn something. Okay, so we've got the fertilizer and the oats and the rye disc in. We have most of the oats are up on top here, and then down the travel corridor shooting lane is mostly rye that's designed for rifle season. Now what we're going to do is spread some red clover well in here and some chicory, and the reason I'm doing that is because they grow so quickly. The red clover we use and the chicory we use will actually become a good food source October. So, you know, somebody might be thinking, well, that's a perfect spot for one of those 12, 13, 18 diversity mixes. Yeah, maybe in May, okay, but right now I'm trying to feed deer. I'm trying to create the most amount of food on this particular high knob full of sand, and I don't care about trying to build soil right now. I mean, don't take that the wrong way. I know it sounds bad, but right now, here in mid-August, I'm worried about putting as much groceries on this spot as possible in that 12, 13, 14 diversity mix with brassicas and sunflowers and everything under the sun. It might be green, but it's not going to be the tonnage I'm seeking. The number one thing in this soil is rye. Oats does well, and as far as broadleaf, red clover does well. And we are going to use some chicory because of the deep taproot and see how it does up here. But that's why I'm selecting those four. I'm not even putting buckwheat up here. Okay, I know it's going to work good. Last year we did our sandy soil fall forage blend, and that's where the rye came from. And I didn't touch it all summer because it was so dry. But that's why we're not doing one of those crazy diversity mixes for building soils, because right now, in our opinion, and that's my philosophy, I build soil from spring until now. Okay, now we're trying to feed deer and attract deer and hold deer, so we need to grow the most amount of groceries, tonnage, food as we can. So the reason I'm not doing brassicas up here is because the soil is nowhere near ready. And two, it's a little tiny plot and we're in the middle of 1,000 acres of hardwoods. Okay, you look around me, it's trees as far as you can see. And if we had a little tiny brassica plot up here, it'd be gone in 2 weeks. Plus it would be struggling to grow. So we got good sunlight to the south. Okay, we've got decent soil. It's not pure beach sand. It's starting to turn already. We've had 2 plantings of rye up here, and now this is going to be the 3rd planting of rye with some oats, some red clover, and some chicory, and that is the reasoning we're using that up here because of the size of the plot, the conditions of the soil. We're trying to grow the most amount of groceries as we can in a small spot with terrible soil. So that's why we selected what we have. So now we're going to do the earthway seeder is going to be set at 1.5, and I'm going to walk this way. I'm going to be walking east and west, and then I'm going to come back north and south to make sure we get good coverage, and then I'm going to walk down the shooting lane with the red clover, and then we're going to roll it in one more time with our lawn roller, and we're going to be done. I lied. Because I'm spreading clover and the rate is a lot higher than brassica, it's actually closer to 2 rather than 1.5. So we're a little bit closer to 2, and I got to pick up the pace a little bit. And that's a wrap for food plots on this particular piece this year. We were blessed last week with a lot of rain, so we were doing mostly the destination food plots, and unfortunately I think the tail end of that is left a couple of days ago, and it looks like it's going to be dry for the next 10 days. But we've had a lot of pop-up showers this summer where it's 10% chance of rain, and all of a sudden we get a half inch. So that's what I'm counting on. We got a lot of hot weather coming up in the next 8 to 10 days, so hopefully a couple of pop-up showers are generating from that. But anyway, so to go over our strategy here one more time, lightly tilled in last year's rye from the sandy soil fall forage blend. We spread a little bit of triple 19. I skipped the urea for now, and without the chance of rain in sight, although it would be buried, we just didn't put any urea down. We did probably I don't know, about 60, 70 pounds of rye on this 1/10 of an acre down the lane. And then we did 15 pounds of oats right here. No buckwheat, no brassicas. There might have been an errant radish in with that red clover. Like I said, we spilled it on the floor and just put it in a bag and brought it out here. And then obviously some red clover. Lightly dissed in the seed and the fertilizer, the biggest seed, the rye and the oats. We want that covered. Some of it's going to be an inch deep. And then we packed it with that lawn roller, put the red clover out. And like I said, I think there was a couple of radishes in there. And then we packed it again, and now we're done. And the thing that I liked about this project today, probably 3 hours total from the time we started a light disking with the tractor until now. So we lost, it's kind of a hazy day, so it's not like a baking sun. It's hot out though. But so we lost very little ground moisture. I mean, obviously the surface moisture is going to be gone. It was dry. One thing I did notice, it was not dusty at all. So there is decent ground moisture yet. Our fingers are crossed for some rain, but now I'm going to get behind the camera, kind of show you the stand layout, and that's the other part of this video, the strategy behind this small food plot. So now we're looking south. That is the shooting lane I was talking about. There's, you're looking south. To the west, there's really heavy bedding in there. There's a big swamp, tamarack swamp, a little bit of cedar, balsam. And then this is, obviously you can see this is a sand ridge. And then we look to the west, I look to the east, there's a big destination food plot 300 yards through the woods, and you can see it drops down. So I've got the stands behind me. It's a box blind. We've got really good access. We've got a mock vine licking branch over here that got hit really hard. We'll eventually put the camera in this tree. One of our Tacticam cellular cameras will have that on there, but we're going to let this green up first. But we're going to come in here in a few days with some Plot Doctor liquid lime, liquid calcium, liquid nitrogen, which is why we didn't drop any urea, and probably a little foliar fertilizer, but it'll also work when the rain activates it as well. But we're going to come in here with some Plot Doctor, get that sprayed, pray for some rain, and this will be a great green food source, and just waiting for October 1st. One thing, some of y'all might be a little jealous of this one. Here in Upper Michigan, we're not known for 200-inch deer. The hunting celebrities and hunting shows are not coming up here to film because we just don't have big deer. But what we do have, wild blackberries. And they are loaded this year. All back there. So, I know this isn't Iowa or Illinois or Missouri. Sorry folks, but these are outstanding. Wild blackberries here in Upper Michigan. Sorry about that last part, folks. Yes, we did take multiple water breaks, and yes, we were eating wild blackberries for lunch. No need to pack a lunch when the good Lord provides for you here in Upper Michigan. So I hope you understood the strategy in both what we planted, why we planted, and as well as how we planted, why it's set up here. This is kind of a multi-purpose video, why the stand is set up where it's at, why the food plot is where it's at, and why we planted what we did, how we planted, let me try that again, how we planted, and the reason we planted that way. So, you know, I can't emphasize that enough. With this sandy soil, I don't want things robbing and fighting each other. You know, a lot of people will say, why didn't you plant a diverse mixture, the 10, 12, you know, big soil building mixture? And it's like I said before, right now, this time of year, my philosophy has always been feed your deer as much as you can. And this is a little tiny food plot, so we're going to go heavy cereal rye. And I don't want that cereal rye fighting with brassicas that I know are only going to get that tall, okay? But those brassicas that are only going to get that tall are still taking moisture, they're still taking nutrients, and they're taking moisture and nutrients away from the rye that will get to full potential. It will get to full potential in this particular environment. So that's why we only went with rye, a little bit of oats, and some red clover. But that rye and that red clover is a strategy not only for this fall, but it's a strategy for next spring. Again, we're in the middle of 1,000 acres of big woods, and there's not a lot for the deer to eat coming off that hard winter, but this is going to be an oasis for them. This is going to be a much needed source of protein next March, April, May, whenever we decide to get our spring thaw next year. So that's why we did what we did here, folks, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in the northern half of the United States that can relate. Poor soil, big woods, limited space, and that's one of the strategies maybe you can use on your food plot here in 2023. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you in a few days.